सेव किया था ना?
मैं सिर्फ इसलिए गया था क्योंकि उसने मुझे कॉल किया, that's it. But listen तो.
Save it for someone else.
जिंदगी में सेव करना जरूरी है, मगर जब बात पैसों की हो, सिर्फ सेविंग से काम नहीं चलेगा। इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट कीजिए और अपने सेविंग्स को आगे बढ़ने का मौका दीजिए।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
I read your responses to every episode of Cut The Clutter and National Interest very closely and dutifully so every night before I go to sleep. And I note that there is much demand from many of you that I feature the controversy raised by Udhayanidhi Stalin's remarks on Sanatana Dharma in an episode of Cut The Clutter. The reason I had not done so far is simply because I wasn't able to see immediately what the clutter is. It is well known that Dravidian movement is fundamentally anti-religious. We can also stretch it with some justification to say anti-Hindu religion and religiosity. That is exactly how its founder, the Dravid movement's founder, Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy set it up. His Dravidar Kadagam was built on the three pillars of rationalism, atheism, and rejection of caste. Rationalism, atheism, and rejection of caste. Its most vocal and passionate opposition. His movement's most vocal and passionate opposition was to Hindu ritual, where Brahmins played a critical role to the extent that he saw it as one tiny caste group sitting on top of the power pyramid in terms of caste and looking down at all the others. At least that is what he convinced his vast population of Tamil followers of. And that's how it came to be seen as primarily as an anti-Brahmin, anti-Hindu religiosity movement. He called it a self-respect movement. But his atheism wasn't just philosophical or political, it was physical. He went around demolishing idols of Hindu gods and goddesses. He emerged as India's, or at least modern India's, I know some people will take me back to 11th century or 12th century AD, but he emerged as modern India's most prominent and politically successful iconoclast. Politically successful because his followers came to rule Tamil Nadu 6 years before he died in 1973. Remember, 1967 it is that DMK came to power. That's when Madras state was named Tamil Nadu, and that's when DMK came to power the first time. Dravid parties then took over power. They haven't lost it since then. It's now been 56 years. So one Dravid party or the others. So one set of Periyar followers or the others or their children and their legatees have been in power in Tamil Nadu since then. Periyar, however, died a bit lonely as his closest followers had broken away to join politics.
Morarji Desai's Janata Party government, by the way, released a commemorative postage stamp 5 years after his death in 1978.
Before I go further into the roots of where this politics in Tamil Nadu comes from, where the opposition to conservative Hinduism comes from, let me also first of all recall for you what exactly did Udhayanidhi Stalin say. Udhayanidhi Stalin said, and I quote, "Sanatana is against social justice and equality. It is like corona, malaria, dengue. And it must be eradicated, not just opposed." Strong words, and that caused an immediate kerfuffle from the BJP and many others also, because after all, nobody who follows a faith likes that faith being talked about in such a strong language. While the Congress party formally distanced itself from this statement, Karti Chidambaram, who's an MP from Tamil Nadu for the Congress party, he in fact supported Udhayanidhi and elaborated his thinking process. And he said, and I again quote, "Sanatana Dharma is nothing but a code for a caste hierarchical society. All those batting for it are hankering for the good old days. Caste is the cause of all troubles in India." Then Udhayanidhi Stalin also followed up because he knew that some damage had been done by his earlier statement, and he said, and I again quote, "I never called for the genocide of people who are following Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is a principle that divides people in the name of caste and religion. Uprooting Sanatana Dharma is upholding humanity and human equality." So that is what the basic facts are. Now, you cannot understand Tamil Nadu politics or the politics of atheism or politics that stands against conservative Hinduism or Hindu ritual without first figuring out where did it start and how did it start in Tamil Nadu and who was its founder. So the founder was E.V. Ramaswamy, Periyar as he came to be known, and like most political leaders of the 20th century, he started out with the Congress party as well in 1919, but then broke away to set up his self-respect movement in 1926, which ultimately morphed into Justice Party in 1939. This Justice Party in 1944 changed its name to Dravidian Kadagam. His slogan when he left the Congress was, and I quote, "No God, no religion, no Gandhi, no Congress, and no Brahmins." His final objective was his North Star of his politics or his political philosophy was an independent, sovereign Dravid Nadu. That's why the Dravid movement for decades was a separatist movement. In fact, the followers of his idea of atheism were also found in the Congress party. So in fact, it was the Congress leader who broke the idol of Lord Rama on Chennai's Marina Beach, or what was then Madras's Marina Beach, in 1956. He was immediately arrested and put in prison. He had been warned not to do this, but he didn't listen. Now, to understand the kind of character or the kind of political figure Periyar was, you have to come with me to Kanchipuram. In fact, for years now, one of my favorite spots in all of India as a student of Indian politics, it lies in the famous temple and silks town of Kanchipuram, less than 100 kilometers away from Chennai. There is the ancient Shankara Mutt there on the edge of the old town, and that is where the abode of the Shankaracharya, or one of the most significant centers of spiritual power for conservative Hinduism, resides. If you hang out here long enough, as I did on my first visit, for the Shankaracharya and then his junior to emerge for a promised audience, you cannot miss the unintended jugalbandi of recorded Sanskrit chanting from the mutt playing out with the azan from the Jummah Masjid next door. Just at the street junction where devotees alight to buy flowers and fruits for the sage sits the bust of Periyar, arguably the most formidable iconoclast, as I just told you, of the 20th century at least. For the generations who may have forgotten him, the little introduction that I gave earlier in this episode of Cut the Clutter may not be enough, so I would suggest you check out Sunil Khilnani's Incarnations. That has a good chapter on Periyar. So Periyar launched one of India's most powerful and controversial movements of socio-political transformation, fighting Brahmanism, casteism, social inequality, and superstition, all under the same umbrella of rationalism and atheism. If you come to this junction in Kanchipuram, not only does he have a place looking at the mutt and the mosque, he also has his condemnation of God and divinity engraved in all capitals above his bust. And I can do no better than to read from the inscription, which you can see on your screens. And I'm now reading from the inscription. Periyar's views, not my views. There is no God. There is no God. There is no God at all. The inventor of God is a fool. The propagator of God is a scoundrel. The worshipper of God is a barbarian. Other rude things are then written, calling the inventor of soul, rebirth, etc. as scoundrel and a barbarian, and their followers as fools. The important thing is that the man who defied and condemned gods in a manner no other Indian mass leader has done shares this strategic spot with the great center of Hinduism and a prominent mosque. In which other country you find deep conservative religiosity and the most forthright rationalism and atheism sharing the same few hundred square yards? Hindu groups, by the way, had challenged this as offensive, but in a 1979 judgment, the Madras High Court held that there was no problem with the inscriptions along with a man's statue stating his views. The gist of that court order is also found on another black stone under bespectacled Periyar, the supreme irony of the great iconoclast mocking the gods in his own stone avatar. Uska bhi the statue banana, this is also his stone avatar. He's also sitting there as an idol. So Udhayanidhi Stalin could actually claim, and with some reason, good reason, that he's after all a child of Periyar's philosophy, because that philosophy was anti-religion, anti-God and ultimately anti-Brahmanism. So what is it that he said that is new? He's harking back to his own philosophy. The fact, however, is that things have changed greatly even in Tamil Nadu meanwhile, because DMK, for all practical purposes, gave up atheism a long time back. And atheism itself in its classical form, as Periyar defined it, has very few followers in Tamil Nadu, and you can see that in the rise of religiosity all over the state. So the fact is that atheism, which fueled the great movement of Dravid empowerment, a purge of Brahmanism, is now a thing of old-style romanticism. J. Jayalalitha, a Brahmin, never hid her religiosity. And while M. Karunanidhi was somebody whom Yogendra Yadav described as the last voice of great rationalism, the fact is that after him, there will be none. His son, M.K. Stalin, and his family have been visiting temples, though the excuse mostly is archaeology and history. I have traveled in Tamil Nadu extensively during several elections, and I don't think I found even one voter who remembered the larger idea of godlessness or missed it. Temples are full of devotees, a large number of priests are non-Brahmins, good thing. The state is home to large followings of prominent southern godmen, Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev and Sri Sri Ravi Shankar among them. Even one of Karunanidhi's wives, as DMDK's film star leader, Captain Vijay Kant once told us, wears a prominent bindi or wore a prominent bindi. So the fact in Tamil Nadu and Tamil politics says that whatever Udhayanidhi might say, gods have actually staged a full comeback. That's why in my occasional series Writings from the Wall, which I write traveling through a state during elections, I wrote one out of Tamil Nadu. So it was headlined Return of the Angels, and then went on to say how, as aims of social justice and purge of Brahmanism were achieved, Dravidian politics has dumped atheism as freebies are the new god. And once again, the story in Tamil Nadu is, as in many other parts of the country and what's happening nationally also, that in this case, atheism also yielded to populism. We told you the other day that all isms are now being subsumed by populism, and that's what's happened in Tamil Nadu. It's DMK versus AIA-DMK, who offers better social welfare or freebies, whatever you may choose to call them. Religion, however, religion has made a comeback. And again, whatever Udhayanidhi might say, the fact is that even DMK has realized that they can't keep dissing religion. And what evidence do we have that God has staged a comeback or gods have staged a comeback in Tamil Nadu? Check out this tweet from Udhayanidhi Stalin himself from 2020, where he says that my mother believes in God. He says, neither I nor my wife believe in God, but my mother believes in God. There is a puja room in the house which has pictures of our ancestors, but also my mother's favorite gods. So you can see that once again, while politics requires that Dravid leaders, that DMK leaders continue to speak in atheist terms, the reality on the ground is very different. In fact, CN Annadurai distanced himself from two things when he broke away from Periyar in 1949 and formed DMK. He broke away from DK, Dravidar Kargam, and joined DMK, Dravid Munetru Kargam. He gave two political reasons. One was that he did not quite buy into Periyar's style of complete separatism from India. And second, he also distanced himself from atheism because his argument was that if you're joining politics, you can't keep fighting against religion. You can be irreligious, you can be an atheist, but you can't be breaking idols. He knew that it was one thing to use rationalism as a cover for attacking social inequality, that is Annadurai, but quite another to rouse an electorate against gods. In fact, Ganesha is the most popular god in Tamil Nadu, and accordingly, the largest number of idols broken by Periyar were Ganeshas. In 1954, Annadurai famously said, articulating his whole distancing himself from this iconoclasm, he said, and I quote, and this is all part of history now, and he said, and I quote, I do not break coconuts for Periyar, that is the Tamil name for Lord Ganesha, neither do I break his idols. By this time, this distancing is complete, irrespective of what Udhayanidhi Stalin is now saying. This change is helped along by the decline of Brahmin domination in Tamil Nadu. Well before Amir Khan's Martian took on those so-called managers of God in PK, the founders of the Dravid movement had figured it out. Now with the managers out, their children don't have such an issue with the gods. Of course, the die-hard non-believers find a way around it. For some time, I learned from the same eminent yoga teacher, late TKV Desikachar of Krishnacharya Yoga Mandiram in Chennai, as did old Mr. Karunanidhi. He never uttered the word Om, I was told, but had no problem with Surya Namaskar, as the sun, after all, is my party symbol, is said. So they found their way around. With the decline, in fact, of rationalism and the split in Dravid politics, two parties emerged with almost similar ideologies, ADMK and DMK. By now, both have become fully non-ideological. You get an occasional reminder, as from Udhayanidhi Stalin now. Otherwise, the parties have become non-ideological when it comes to religion and atheism. On the ground, gods have staged a full comeback. You want to understand this better? Go back to January 2021. Mr. Stalin came out in the little town of Tirutani carrying the veil of Lord Kartikeya. Lord Kartikeya is one of the sons of Lord Shiva and the most popular god, with no disrespect to all the other gods, all other members of the pantheon. Lord Kartikeya is the most popular god among the non-Brahminical Tamil population, also known popularly as Lord Murugan. So Stalin appeared in the town of Tirutani with a spear or a veil. This was the veil of Lord Murugan, and that immediately upset the BJP, and the BJP thought they'll carry out a counter to this by carrying out their own Vetri Veil Yatra. Vetri Veil means a victory spear yatra. That AIA-DMK got very impatient about, and they used COVID restrictions as an excuse to prevent the BJP from doing this, because BJP would have thought, look, DMK, ADMK both claim to be rationalists, both claim to be atheist. One has been found to carry Lord Murugan's veil. So let us do something stronger than that to give a stronger message. Because ultimately, if BJP has to find its feet in Tamil Nadu, or if the BJP has to strike some roots in Tamil Nadu, it has to use Hindu religion. So this is a tussle that's been going on in Tamil Nadu for quite some time. What you see right now is just the latest turn in it.